has been a minute, but welcome back to my channel. Also, I'm sorry if I sound weird. Getting over a cold. It's not you know what, which explains why there's been a gap in my videos and just not feeling great. For this video, I wanted to create a Ramadan spread. I've done these a couple times in the past few years. As you'll see, I did it in 2021 with a countdown advent calendar style. And then in 2022, I did a bingo board to fill out as I accomplished any of those activities. I thought they were really fun and I wanted to do something a little more interactive and challenging this year. I wanted to make like a spinning wheel and that could go in your bullet journal. And you'll see that's like my little prototype right there. So to make sure everything was cut correctly, I decided to use my Cricut machine. This is actually my sister's machine. And you'll see we messed up on the first try. But I cannot cut straight, especially a circle. So I had the machine do it for me. And I cut a couple because I didn't know if I wanted the wheel to be thick or thin, or if I needed the arrow to have more weight. So I actually did a few of these and I cut circles in a few sizes because I wasn't sure how large or small I wanted it to be. So the largest one is about 3.75 inches in diameter. Then I had 3.5 and then I had 3.25. And then these are the arrows that I cut out while I was testing. I just used a thick black paper. It wasn't really like cardstocky, but kind of felt like craft paper. It was just some scrap ephemera that I've had for years that I finally got to use. And so you'll see I tested it. And you'll see my first prototype here. These are really ugly circles that I cut out. And then I took one of my arrows that I cut out and used fastener to put it together. And you'll see that it doesn't spin that well. This is where I was kind of confused and nervous that maybe my idea wouldn't work out. So I decided to try something else as like a backup plan. I just got rid of the arrow. And I was thinking maybe if I put a smaller circle on top of a larger one, I can use the smaller circle as a spinner. So if you've ever seen the game show The Price is Right, that's kind of what I thought of. And then I have a little arrow on the bigger circle like so. So that could be an alternative, and then the smaller circle would have each of the options, as you'll see in my beautiful mock-up. But then I realized, or my sister actually pointed out, is that the circle wasn't spinning as easily as I wanted it to either. So what we decided, because she was involved in this as my consultant, of course, was that maybe the arrow actually needed to be heavier, because we had some kind of vinyl paper. It wasn't super thick vinyl, and decided to cut that out using the Cricut. And then I also bought a set of these gold fasteners. Yeah. Pretty easy to find at any craft or office supply store. And I wanted to make sure the hole that I was going to make in the circle was in the center. So I used the dot grid as my guideline and then made that quick hole. And then I decided to divide up the circle into 8 parts for each item that the arrow can land on as one of the options. And then I just wanted to make sure that the arrow was aligned with it. And you'll see that the hole has already been pre-made. So actually when we printed on the vinyl, we put it right in the middle, put a dot there, so it's easy to make the actual hole in the arrow. And I actually have a few different tools that can punch holes. So I have this super thin, very sharp one. It's hard to open the lid, but it's really thin and it makes a very sharp hole. And then I had that thicker one that was plastic, and then that wooden handle one. So I had a few different options, but I think you could take any very thin, sharp tool that you have to pierce the hole through the circle. So you'll see I'm making that initial hole with the really thin one, and then I went in with the wooden handle one, which is a little thicker, and I was also dumb and put my finger underneath the hole, and I was like, cool. I did not hurt myself, thankfully, but there was an indent. I just pushed it through to make sure it was thick enough, because the fastener will have to go through both the arrow and the circle, and it's obviously larger than that initial hole that I created. Wow, I have said hole like a million times in this video. Anyway, so you'll see that's done. And then I'm going to color each of the sections. If you look at one of my YouTube shorts, you'll see the theme for March, which is kind of this sunrise sunset type of theme that uses a lot of earthy colors. And so I wanted to keep that in line with using some lighter shades of that same palette. So first I used this light green, I think it was called sea green. Prismacolor marker, and you'll see I had such a hard time opening this lid. I had to go ask someone in my house to open it. Anyway, I went in with the thicker side of this Prismacolor and filled it in. And since there were 8 triangles or 8 pieces of the pie, I used the green color twice. I also made sure that I had a paper underneath, because these are alcohol based, so they definitely bleed through the dot grid paper. And this paper is from an Archer and Olive notepad that I had ripped out. So I just wanted to make sure I didn't get like green on my desk. So you'll see I had a couple layers here. And then I went in with my Tombow markers in that light brown tan color. And then I accidentally did this out of order and went in with this mustard color. And I'm going to use a light blue as the final color. You'll see that one thing, I kind of wished I had just used more of my Prismacolors, because I have a few colors, including like a light brown and a light blue, because you'll see with the alcohol-based markers, they blend really nice and smooth. But with the Tombow dual brush pens, which are water-based, it leaves that like streaking, which I usually don't mind, but I think it would have looked nicer if I kept it with one kind of marker. So that's something I probably would do differently if I had to do this again. And I made sure to put the washi tape at the edges just so it wouldn't bleed over into the other pieces of the pie. I wanted to make sure that when I filled it out, it fit exactly in its wedge. So now I'm going to bring back my notebook, because I'm actually going to start putting the spread together. I decided to fill out a different little prompt for each pie wedge, and each of them represent like a little task or a recommended good deed or activity to do during Ramadan. So, you know, if you feel like, hey, what should I do today? You could take out the wheel and spin it, and it'll give you a nice option. If you're not familiar with Ramadan, it is the 9th month in the Islamic calendar, which follows a lunar calendar, and this is the month where Muslims all over the world fast for 29 or 30 days. They observe even more strongly during this month, like with praying, fasting, donating to charity, doing good deeds, spending time with family, listening and reading to the Quran. And then at the end of the 29 or 30 days, after that is the holiday Eid, which is when we celebrate the end of fasting, have a lot of food, wear our newest and or best clothes, spend time with family and friends. So now I took one of my gold fasteners and put it through the arrow. You'll see that the end of it is thicker. And then I pushed it through the circle. And then you have to separate the prongs. And one thing here is that you don't want to fasten it too tight, because it'll make it hard for the arrow to spin, which is what my problem was here. One thing I realized was actually the hole in the circle actually needs to be larger, so there's more room for the fastener to move easily, and so the arrow can move. Like right now there wasn't enough space for it, it was too tight. And then I took this I had this like little folder envelope thing for a long time from some order, and I decided it was like the perfect little pocket to put the wheel in, and I didn't have to like create a little pocket by hand. So that's what I cut and made it smaller, and it fit perfectly. It will make your journal chonky, but I knew that was gonna happen, and so I was okay with that. But you can use like thinner paper if you prefer. Then I decided to decorate with some washi tape, put a little candle since lanterns are like a big motif for Ramadan decorations. And then I took this gold washi tape that has triangles on it. One, because they look like mountains, which kind of works with my earthy theme, and they're also geometric, and geometric shapes are a big part of Islamic art, so I thought it kind of fit. I put a sticker where that like faux wax seal is on the envelope, and then I felt like the envelope needed some decoration, so I took some gold washi tape and decorated the edges. I took my glue tape. You can use glue sticks too. I would just make sure you use something strong and sticky, and then stuck it on to the page. And then here's my wheel, and you can see it's spinning better because I made the hole larger, and then it fits very nicely. I had a lot of blank space, and I probably should have just decorated it, but I just wrote like quick instructions, like spin the wheel for some Ramadan inspiration throughout the month. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm really excited for how this bullet journal spread came together. It's a lot of trial and error, and I'm really happy that I figured out how to bring my vision to life. So I really hope you enjoy. Let me know what you think in the comments. Let me know if you try this, or if this is something you would do. Maybe not necessarily for Ramadan, but for something else. That'd be really cool to know. And you'll see my journal looked really chunky. Anyway, thank you for watching. Please make sure to subscribe for more videos, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Thanks.